Alright guys, we're going to be talking about who got tagged and who didn't, who's hitting the free agent market and who is not. And obviously we're going to start off with the obvious one, Le'Veon Bell, who got tagged a couple days ago. But obviously he's the heart and soul of the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. He's one of the probably arguably the best running back in the NFL. Him and David Johnson are similar running backs in that they get so many yards from scrimmage. And that's one heck of an argument, who is better, him or David Johnson. And Le'Veon Bell is probably one of the more fun players to watch in the NFL. I mean, my God, we've never seen anything like his patient running before. And when they get Martavis Bryant back, hopefully Le'Veon can stay off the weed and doesn't get suspended. This Steelers offense is probably going to be one of the greatest we've probably ever seen with Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant, Big Ben, and that offensive line with Marquise Pouncey, David Castro, Alejandro Villanueva, people like that. I mean, this offense has some extremely talented players on it. Alright, so let's move on to who else got tagged. And this one's a bit more of a surprise. This one I didn't see coming. I actually thought he was going to walk, and that is Kirk Cousins. Now, Kirk Cousins is one of the more underrated players in the NFL. I really don't understand the hate. I don't understand. I've never really heard Redskins fans hate on him that much. It's more of the organization. They're not sold on the kid, or they would have extended him already. And it would have probably been smarter to extend him, and it probably would have been cheaper. But again, Kirk Cousins, the knock on him is he clutch? He tends to choke, because this is what other people say. He tends to choke in the fourth quarter when you need it the most situations. And I think the question is, he the long-term guy? Can you win a Super Bowl with him? And I think absolutely you definitely can. He commands one of the most talented NFL. Now, he commands one of the more talented NFL offenses in the NFL. He's got one of the best offensive lines. If they retain Djax, Pierre Garçon, and they still have Jordan Reed, Robert Kelly, Trent Williams, obviously one of the best tackles in the NFL, Jay Gruden, one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. This team has a very, very bright future in that division. They might be they have some hard competition to overcome with the New York Giants, who have one of the best defenses in the NFL, one of the better offenses also, and then you got the Cowboys, who have a ridiculously talented offense, and they might be adding AP to the mix, so look out. So they have some competition, and I think the woes of the Redskins aren't Kirk Cousins' fault. I think it's more of the defense's fault than anything. So let's move on to the next guy. This is going to break your heart, Dolphins fans, and I feel so bad delivering this news to you, but Melvin Ingram has been franchise tagged. By the way, before I move on, I want to tell you how much Kirk Cousins is going to be making. He's going to be making around $23 million, and also Le'Veon Bell is going to be making around $12 million on the tag. So Melvin Ingram, this is going to break every Dolphins fan's heart in half because of the reports that he wanted to play for Miami, and he would have added that young pass rushing need. He would have filled that need 100%. He is Von Miller's baby brother. If he did not go through so many injuries early on in his career, we would know him as one of the best pass rushers of this, the last 5 years. Melvin Ingram is seriously talented, and the LA Chargers really didn't mess up on this one, because he is seriously a guy that you do not want to let go. He's young, and he's going to be very good for a long time. And it breaks all Dolphins fans' hearts for sure. The next guy we're going to be talking about is Trumaine Johnson. Now, Trumaine Johnson is, again, this is another underrated guy that he plays in a big market now that he's in LA, but when he was in St. Louis, not a big market, they don't get nationally televised a lot, and you guys don't, if you're not a hardcore fan, you don't know about some of these guys, but Trumaine Johnson, seriously, is one of the more underrated corners in the NFL. He is now going to be the highest paid corner. I think he's going to be getting around $14 million a year. Trumaine Johnson is just so... I don't understand it. I really don't understand the, I don't know. You would think somebody who grabbed 7 interceptions, I know that was 2 seasons ago, would get more recognition, but seriously, and he's one of the best, pick after catch guys you'll ever see. And they, again, the LA Rams, the LA Chargers, LA Rams did not mess up on this one, but he is going, again, you could have saved some money if you just got him a long-term deal, but again, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know why NFL teams just don't want to give these guys long-term deals, because they're definitely worth it. All right, so let's move on to the next guy, and that is Chandler Jones. Now, Chandler Jones, another underrated guy who did play in a big market in New England, because New England is such a popular football team. But Chandler Jones is a monster. Obviously, I think it was his brother John Jones, or his whole family is just an athletic just athletic freaks. Chandler Jones is one of the more underrated players. If you're an AFC East fan, if you've been a long-time Dolphins, Jets, Patriots, Bills fan, this guy is a monster. And he continues to prove that. He continues to improve every single year in the NFL. He just grabbed 11 sacks. And he's going to continue to be one of the better passers. Him and Marcus Golden, man, that defense with Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, these guys are going to be ridiculously good for a long time, man. Just another guy that does not get a lot of recognition and deserves it. I don't know if he made the Pro Bowl. Somebody's going to have to let me know that he deserved it, grabbing double-digit sacks. Alright, so let's move on to the next guy, and the next guy is Jason Pierre-Paul. This is a huge surprise. There was reports that he wasn't going to play under the franchise tag again. I think that's why I'm more surprised. There's a lot of reports that he was going to move to Motown in Detroit, and he doesn't end up doing that. This is a great move by the Giants. To solidify them being the best defense in their division in the NFC East, this allows them to be legitimate contenders for the division title. I really do believe that. With Olivier Vernon on the other side, who again is one of the more underrated NFL players in the league, not just defensive players, just more underrated NFL players. If you're a hardcore fan, you know Ov is lit. Ov is a force. This man, I've seen him pick up people and throw them 10 yards. Like, this guy is legit. So, and then Jason Pierre-Paul is one of the more underrated. I don't want to call him underrated. He's a well-known player, but people don't understand. You look at his sack numbers, you're like, oh, 7. I think he had 0 because obviously he blew his fingers off, but he affects. People don't understand how much he affects the football field. He's top 3 in quarterback pressures when he's healthy. Obviously, he grabbed 7 sacks. He's a playmaker. This was a great move by the New York Giants to keep one of their better franchise players. Okay, so let's move on to the next guy, and the next guy is going to be, again, another super underrated, talented, one of the top 5 at his position guy, and Kawann Short. Huge move by the Carolina Panthers. He is the meat and potatoes of their defense. He is feared throughout the NFL, Kawann Short. He is a absolute beast of a defensive tackle. He can do it all. He can rush the passer. He can be a dominant run, impact the run game. He's a complete game wrecker. He can wreck a game just like a Sue can or an Aaron Donald. Kawann Short can win you football games by himself, especially with, and again, Luke Kuechly playing behind him. That's just a huge tag by the Carolina Panthers. Now, this is where stuff gets interesting, guys. This is where stuff gets really interesting. These are the players that are going to hit free agency and did not get tagged. And trust me, there are some big names on here that I did not expect to be let go like they are going to be. Stephon Gilmore is seriously one of the best. Again, another guy who plays in a small market. Not a lot of people know about him. And one of the best man coverage corners, in the NFL. He can check anybody. He's coming off of his best year with 5 interceptions. He really is a guy who you can just you should basically put on an island. If you've ever heard the term Revis Island, you can do the same thing with Stephon Gilmore. If you're an AFC East guy, Jets, Dolphins, Patriots fan, or Buffalo Bills fan, you know how important this guy, like just how good this guy really is. And if your team is hurting for a cornerback, if your secondary sucks, if you're a fan of a team that their secondary has been struggling, like a Washington Redskins, somebody like that where their defense is really struggling and their secondary is, Stephon Gilmore will fix it real quick. Stephon Gilmore is a franchise cornerback. He's going to command a lot of money. People like the Jets and Eagles are reportedly going to go hard after him. The Eagles are looking like they're going to be very active in free agency. All right, let's go on to the next guy. This guy surprised me the most out of probably anybody on this list because how he affected the biggest game in the world, and that is, or in America, is the Super Bowl. Dont'a Hightower. Dont'a Hightower is a franchise linebacker. It really surprised me that they did not lock him up. It is the Patriots, though. They tend to not pay their own a lot, but Dont'a Hightower really is one of the best linebackers in the NFL. I would say he's a top 5 guy, especially after this season. The knock on Dont'a Hightower, he's not the greatest coverage guy. He's never had an interception in his career, but he's not a bad coverage guy. He's not like a terrible coverage guy. He's just good. He's not somebody you would say, oh, he's a top 3 linebacker, because you have the Luke Kuechlys of the world, you have the Deion Joneses of the world who are just elite pass coverage guys. But Dante Hightower can affect a football game. He can alter a football game. He can make game-winning plays. He's the best pass rushing linebacker in the NFL in terms of a middle linebacker. He can affect the run game like no other linebacker in the NFL can. He gets off blocks with ease. He's a physical, imposing player. He's had some injuries that he has dealt with. That's another knock on Dante Hightower. I think he's going to get overpaid in free agency, and I think he fits a team that's in a win-now mode like a Kansas City Chiefs or a Green Bay Packers. Somebody like that, they need a guy who they can come in and help them at certain positions. The Chiefs need Dante Hightower because of Derrick Johnson constantly getting hurt, and he's obviously getting older. And then you look over to the Green Bay Packers; they just need somebody on their defense to wreak havoc, like they did with the Charles Woodson. All right, so let's move on to the next guy, and that's Alshon Jeffrey. Now, Alshon Jeffrey, weird situation going down there in Chicago. He's young. He's a red zone threat. Obviously, he's another guy who's dealt with injuries. But he's talk about a guy who can put the ball in the paint. And a team like the LA Rams or the Philadelphia Eagles need somebody like this desperately. They really need receiver help. And this guy can do that if he can stay healthy. Alshon Jeffrey is one of the best receivers in the NFL. He's 6'3", and he's fast as lightning, and he's a great route runner. He does it all. Alshon Jeffrey is a true number one guy. He's a great 50-50 guy. And I mean, if you watch his highlights, he's got some of the sickest highlights out there. And Alshon Jeffrey is an absolute freak, and he's a monster. He's going to command a lot of money. I think, a sleeper team for him is the Carolina Panthers. He obviously went to college there. I think he grew up there. And the Carolina Panthers, I think, would need to get Cam Newton some help. I think they're going to do that through the draft with Leonard Fournette. But they need to add another big option. And they love big, tall receivers. They have Devin Funchess, Kelvin Benjamin. So he fits their scheme. And Cam Newton would love him. And that would be one heck of a duo. Okay, so let's move on to the next guy, and that is Dontari Poe. Now, Dontari Poe does not surprise me that he did not get tagged because they had to pay Eric Berry or Poe. Poe kind of had a disappointing career, not a career, but a disappointing rest of his career, I guess. He's a young player. He's only 26, but he had that season. Obviously, he had that sick 40 time. He had that one really outstanding season. A lot of people thought he could be an elite pass rusher. He's your traditional nose tackle. He's a space eater. He's great against the run. If you have a bad run defense like a Miami Dolphins team, he can come in and fix that right away. Dontari Poe is extremely athletic. He's passed again. A lot of teams thought he could be that elite pass rusher that he just really didn't turn out to be. He could still be that. He's only 26, so he has his whole career ahead of him. So he could still be that. He has the athleticism to do it. So he has the physical tools. We just haven't seen that on the field. All right, so let's move on to the next guy, Terrell Pryor. Now, Terrell Pryor was obviously one of the shining, whatever you want to call it, in a dark hole that was the Cleveland Browns season. That was a tragic season for Hugh Jackson. But Terrell Pryor really showed, before the season even started, he was getting rave reviews by people like Solomon Wilcox, really good people who know what they're talking about. Terrell Pryor has a very, very bright future in the NFL. He's going to still be a development project. He barely hit 1,000. He's a great route runner. He's one of the fastest players in the NFL, and for his size and that speed-size combination, I really don't think we've seen anything like that. Josh Gordon was kind of like that. Like, he has that elite size speed combination. He's a good run after the catch guy. He can put the ball in the paint. If you're looking for somebody who can take the top off of a defense and is a big guy, he's going to command. I think he's going to be a little expensive, but he's that rare size speed combination that not a lot of people have in the NFL. And he's a big guy. He's a good 50-50 guy who can take the top off of the defense. Not many receivers can. You can say that about a lot of receivers. He's got great hands too. So if you're in the market for a receiver, if you're an NFL team, I think he could definitely fit that. So he's a little bit more of a developmental project. There's been some personality issues with him, but I think he could come in and make a difference right away. Brandon Williams, defensive tackle for the Baltimore Ravens. This guy, again, another underrated guy, commanded the best run defense in the NFL. He's probably the best nose tackle in the league. He's a space eater like Dontari Poe is. But he just is a little bit more physical. Like, he brings that physical presence. He's a great leader. And if you're like the Miami Dolphins and you need somebody to come in and change your run defense desperately, Brandon Williams can come in and do that. And you know what, dude? If a team got Dante Hightower and Brandon Williams, your defense is looking pretty legit if you already have some elite pass rushers. So that is going to be it, guys. I am Scax83. Some big surprises. Let me know who you are most surprised about, and I will see you guys in the next one.